Howdy doody, Golden Age Guru listeners. Thanks for joining me. Today it's July 10th. We just had July 4th holiday, and I hope you enjoyed your family and maybe popping some fireworks. Today I'm having Paula Reed on, who I've worked with for many years in our mutual side hustle business, and she is basically two levels above me, but has mentored me. She's got a great business savvy. She's very forward thinking, has some revolutionary solutions in her medicine bag, and it's a pleasure to have her on the show and to talk to you about the Bemer, which is a class 2 medical device. So I'm going to have to go through a disclaimer before I end this intro. Apologies for that, but just got to do the housekeeping. And this thing, basically what it does is it's a nutrient delivery system. So I hit the button in the morning, it gives me a energy boost, but also I take some supplements and some mushroom coffee, and it delivers the groceries deeper at a cellular level. You get more absorption, and it delivers more oxygen to the blood and removes toxins, takes out the garbage out of your blood. So it's a circulation booster, blood cleaner, and you've got so many veins in your body that are really tiny, call them microvessels. They would wrap around the planet 3 times, so that you're basically getting trillions of your blood cells cleaned every day that you use this therapy, and it's working a lot of miracles for people, and it saved my butt more than once. So it's probably the number one thing that I endorse and use and love, and it took 20 episodes to get to this point because it's because it's FDA approved. We're really limited on what we can say. So marketing this thing and talking about it can be a challenge, and we're not really allowed to say a lot of things that we used to be able to say about it. So Paula was a little nervous coming on to my woo woo channel because she's a professional, and um, I talk about some woo woo, but I promised her I'm going more into lawyer mode and less into woo woo. so, so this thing's backed by science. You can go to pubmed.gov and do your own research on any ailment you might have and the Bemer mat. And so the disclaimer is that none of the statements presented have been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration or Health Canada. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. Furthermore, none of the statements should be construed as dispensing medical advice, making claims regarding the cure of diseases, nor is it being implied that Bemer products prevent or cure any disease state. You should consult a licensed healthcare professional before starting any health protocol or any health device such as Bemer, especially if you're receiving care for a pre-existing medical condition. Bemer products are in no way a substitute for medical care. Bemer products are FDA Class II cleared medical devices and are registered and licensed by Health Canada as Class II medical devices. Okay, enjoy the show. This show is brought to you on Patreon, where creators are supported by their tribe. For the cost of a latte, you can support the show and my advocacy around fringe legal topics ranging from zero waste and Bitcoin to matters of spirit. I'm committed to serving mankind by providing thousands of years of ancestral wisdom. Learn from my gurus, join my network, and get exclusive content. We have a free tier so you don't have to worry about money, a support tier for just a few bucks, and an apprentice level for aspiring Jedi interested in my mystery school and nature-based ministry. We have a VIP business tier for CEOs who want their own wizard. Just remember, King Arthur had a Merlin and Queen Elizabeth had her John Dee. Historically, I've charged way more as a consultant, but while I wrap my last year of law school, I'm willing to help just to get this new platform going. You'll have access to me with the Voxer app and get access to the Advocacy Launchpad and Discord. Sponsorship is sold separate. If you're interested, message and visit patreon.com, patreon.com/Golden Age Gurus. Follow for free and support if you can. Paula, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John.
So how long have we been working together?
I believe about 4 years, maybe a little longer. Is that your recollection?
Yeah, I'd say about 5.
Okay, maybe 5.
So it's been a pleasure working with you. I love your work ethic, and I love the way that you operate. So it's an honor to be in your downline.
Wow, thank you, John. That's great. I remember the luncheon we met. We were introduced by a doctor who was supporting your health and wellness, as he has with so many. And I was just excited to spend time with him, number one, and to meet you and see what you have done to spread, the quality of life and wellness for so many others. That's really, really admirable.
I couldn't feel my legs. I was having neuropathy in my late 30s, and he gave me a colloidal silver IV, and then put me on the Bemer, and I could feel my feet again the next morning.
Awesome.
So he made me a believer.
Your body makes you a believer, John.
Yeah, well, I had gone to a chiropractor for months on a retainer, and the chiropractor was like, "Oh yeah, you get adjustments every week, and eventually, you'll feel your feet again." And after 3 months, I didn't have any change. But in one day, with this naturopath doctor, we addressed the problem, and so I just wanted to have you on. I know there's strict compliance rules with the FDA. So I don't want to use the old words that aren't allowed anymore, but I know I can say, I can talk about how this will help you basically live longer.
And live a better quality of life. We can say live a better quality of life, because it's all about blood flow. Try to find any kind of condition, any kind of issue, and trace it back to our 7 major systems in the body. And all of them are connected by circulation. It's all about circulation. So we can say that very clearly in every single way. And I'm very excited to share this with your audience. As a speech pathologist, it's been quite revealing to see how I operated for so many decades in the American medical model, and saw the results, saw so much suffering. And when I then too needed some help, and this was what Bemer is what provided that for me, I was very excited about the adventure of seeing what else is out there in the world that is being used for true healing. Our bodies are amazing vehicles, and if we give it just a little bit of what it needs, it's, just stand back and watch it take off.
Yeah. The hot lingo right now is regeneration, and a lot of healing circles that I'm in. So, can you just give a little background on yourself? I know you said you're a speech pathologist. How did you find the Bemer, and
Yes, I got sick. I got sick, and then I found the Bemer, which is a story many of us have. But as a therapist, I had been working with conditions for many, many years. And we were finally getting some electrostimulation type devices, particularly for swallowing and for speaking post-stroke, etc. And had been using that for a couple of years. And through that avenue, I was introduced to the Bemer. I have a nonprofit, and we were actually raising money to help some very critically ill people continue their Bemer sessions. And after a few months of hearing this incredible progress, I'm like, gosh, yeah, I want to try this for myself, because I was also experiencing serious issues from a very bad fall on a sailboat in Italy and then being sprayed with a pesticide. The doctors had made me very, very ill with a quick, quote, detox that damaged most of my organs and digestive system. So it was many years that I was looking for something to help me regain vitality, quality of life, and the mental and physical and emotional resources that I'd had previous to this accident. So I was able to find a doctor here. We had Bemer, I think, in Dallas about 8 years, and I've been in it 7.5. So somebody had one, and I was able to take a session and immediately got sick. And I go, oh dear, this is doing exactly what it says it's going to do. Blood flow in, oxygen delivery in, toxins, waste, CO2 out. So after several hours of, thinking, golly, this is pretty serious feeling here, I kind of came out like through an airplane flying through the heavy clouds, and there's the sunshine, and felt an aliveness feeling I had never felt before, particularly in my lower extremities. So I knew that what had been promised to me, that by using this medical device with the PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic frequency signal, for just 8 minutes, our bodies are able to receive and deliver the oxygen that is already there into our 100 trillion cells via 74,000 miles of micro vessels called our capillaries. So we know when we're little babies that these capillaries are getting pulsations every 10 to 20 seconds. And by the time you're in your late teens, that could decline up to every minute. John, at your age, that could be every 3 to 5 minutes. At my age, that could be every 7 to 10 minutes. So we know that the ability of the body to deliver that oxygen on a very timely fashion is what instigates the natural functions in the mitochondria to produce energy and release toxins and waste products and CO2. So the more energy that we have through ATP developed in the body, that's the more energy that we have to run every system of our body and not have to share for whomever has the crisis at the time. So you'd mentioned the word regeneration, and regeneration is the bottom line, because we are working that body every day in so many different ways. And, our ability to sleep is the time where the organs are going to deacidify, detoxify, and regenerate. So there is a particular order that the organs go through at night. And I know as a law student, you're probably not getting to bed and getting to sleep in accordance with the circadian rhythms of the earth, which will indicate that start of that process of the regeneration. But it's so important for us to get to bed and be asleep at midnight, because the next 4 hours, your body has a lot of work to do. And that ability to be in that deep REM cycle sleep is what is going to give that regeneration to you. And what has been probably my greatest gift is to have this special program that is used at night to support that very process. We have to use it a minimum of getting up from 6 hours and some up to 10 hours. But it is the signal that is supporting that body natural processes that gives an even deeper quality of sleep, which gives the deeper healing modality during the nighttime when you're not having to do anything but close your eyes and hopefully not snore too much.
Yeah, I don't skim on my sleep at this point in my life, and I use the Bemer mats, uh, which allow the device has a program that will allow you to put an alarm in and wake up with that energy, which is basically mimicking the Earth's magnetic field. So,
Absolutely.
that's how I get up is with the Bemer. And
And you get up clear headed and energized and ready to go tackle the day.
exactly. Can you give a little synopsis of the company's history and
Yes, absolutely. We are actually getting ready to celebrate the 25th anniversary in August. There's a national convention in Orlando. All are welcome. Peter Gleim is the owner of this company, and he bought a signal from a German physicist um, over 25 years ago. And he and his kids in their garage in Germany started putting these machines together. So we're getting ready to launch our fourth generation. But Peter is still the owner of Bemer. He is committed to having a Bemer in every home, hut, and barn. Yes, we have an equine unit. And hopefully getting an announcement of a small animal unit soon as well. The signal was developed because of the long-term issues with organ health and regeneration in the space industry. So, little brief history. In 1961, a few of you may know this. I was in school at the time, and there was a race for space. So, the Russian cosmonaut went up in space first. It was another 5 weeks before the United States got someone up in the air. So far away. But what we learned is that that first cosmonaut had significant health issues just from 1 hour and 48 minutes away from the Earth's gravity. Because what does the Earth's gravity do? It supports that movement of blood in the body. So even at that time, they had developed a pulsed electromagnetic frequency type device for the space capsule and continued to develop more and more signals. It's been very important, particularly in the 90s, where we opened up, space station living. Imagine being 6 months away from gravity. There was a special 4th of July spectacular show from the Capitol, and it showed 3 of our astronauts in space, and they were just tossing the microphone from one to another because they were in a no gravity situation. So interestingly enough, this company started and has now developed and expanded into over 40 countries. And we have very different ways that we can say what the Bemer is used for in those different countries. We have an FDA that likes to protect us and does protect us, but also has increasingly limited our ability to say what Bemer can do, and particularly what we're going to be able to, market in the United States compared to Canada and Europe and many other countries as well. Back to the astronaut situation, some years ago, NASA approached Bemer, having had this signal that had more research done on it through the Institute of Microcirculation in Berlin. Dr. Rainer Klopp, who was hired in 92 by the country of Germany to find an answer to diabetes and cardiac conditions, because their socialized medicine was just being tanked because of the expense of people with these chronic conditions. And this is a worldwide condition. And so this is where they started all of this study. So NASA they were unable to, back engineer this signal. And we had many patents, of course, on this signal too. So they asked Bemer if they could collaborate. And we are now on our third or fourth continuing agreement with NASA as they continue to study. And we don't know all that they're doing, but their intent is using this signal in the undergarments of the astronauts while in space. So imagine having a little button you can push, on your unders, every morning and every night, and then have this amazing signal help to support the blood flow. And you just get on with your next experiment of the day. So it's pretty exciting to have, the best scientists in the world seeking something that has, been available to almost all of us in the United States, at least for 8 years, and for the rest of the world for 25 years. It's really awesome.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people are going to be skeptical and are skeptical, but this is proven science, and the Bemer is I hear is the most published medical device in the world. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. And when you want to research something, going to PubMed.gov to look at peer-reviewed studies, Google.scholar, checking out Institute of Microcirculation in Berlin, where they wrote the Bible book to teach about microcirculation. There are studies everywhere, and so many new technologies that are developing haven't even had the time or maybe the expertise to be able to conduct the research that's being done. We just had some amazing research come out of, the equine horse unit as well, out of the, I think it's Colorado State University, and they had started it right before COVID and just finished it out and published that for equine spinal issues. So we are getting more and more research, but there is tons of research out there because it was being done, since Bemer has been on the market in the late 90s. So we have a tremendous ability to make comparisons with other technologies, other signals, to show that the Bemer signal is just dramatically making changes in our bodies like nothing ever has before.
Yeah, at this point, there's a lot of other PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic frequency devices out there, and it's always a little confusing to me why people would go with a new company without any published science and without these other companies, these wannabe Bemer companies don't have the Bemer signal, and the reason they don't is because it's a patent, an international patent, and so you can get another PMF mat potentially for cheaper. It just won't do what the Bemer does and is proven to do, and won't be backed by the amount of doctors and ambassadors and history that the Bemer has.
That's so true, John. But I have to say, I grew up as a teacher, and we have budgets that we want to look at. So sometimes we are just doing our best to get started in what we can. However, what I have seen in the long run, whenever you spend a little bit more for quality, you get a lot more back in return. And that has certainly ended up being the same. After 7.5 years using Bemers and supporting many people, doctors and people down the street, just anyone in purchasing and using their Bemers, I have been amazed at how little problems we've had with the technology, because these machines are built by hand. There are a few some of the pieces that have to come from some other countries, but they're built in Liechtenstein. They say German engineered and Swiss manufactured. So if you think about the history and the reputation of Swiss watches, the Swiss, Liechtenstein is a very small principality. There are 30,000 people that live there and 100,000 businesses that are using Liechtenstein as their address. And the reason is because of the taxation. So if Bemer was manufactured in Germany or in Switzerland, you might be paying 3 times the price. But because they are able to absolutely have this beautiful facility right in Liechtenstein, where there's very little manufacturing going on, they're able to keep this price very affordable for every household. And again, you think about, I have it in my house, but I can take it everywhere I go. I can take it to my church. I can take it to the family reunion. I can take it down to the beach. It can go anywhere that I go. I just recently came back from a trip taking technology with me to Egypt and to Dubai. They're just really wanting, many countries are wanting technology and can't even get it shipped because of the agreements that have to happen with our countries. Also just had it at a yoga retreat for licensed massage therapists training in Costa Rica. And we did a lot of Bemery down there. The young lady that asked me to go with her has chronic cardiac issues since she was 25. She's now 60. And it was very comforting for her to have someone who knew her, knew of the conditions, and had helped her for the last 5 years to be able to get to the health aspect where she could even go on a trip like this and spend all day in the pool learning how to do aquatherapy with clients. So we just have such an exciting potential everywhere for everyone all over the world for us to expand this very simple device. I tell every missionary, I said, you're going to go help somebody in another country and not take a Bemer with you. Can you imagine doing 3 to 5 people an hour, 24 hours a day, while you're doing your mission work or while you're going to a convention? I think, John, didn't you take yours out to a group that was gathering out in the woods one day? And luckily we have a battery so that we can do days worth of sessions on just one charge.
Yep, I definitely take mine everywhere. It makes me feel like Jesus.
At least one of his disciples, at the least.
Yeah.
And let me talk about that for a moment. It is amazing to see the signal that is in this machine and what it does not only to our bodies physically, but our emotions and our spirits as well. So let's just think about having light in the body and a very special signal that brings light into the body. And I usually can see in about 4 minutes. I don't know about you, John, when I first put someone on the Bemer and I see them and I see their face. And then at about 4 minutes, where we know there's some changes going on in the nervous system. I can talk about the horses in a minute about what that is. And then we can see all of a sudden, it's like somebody shows up and they get finished with the Bemer and I just see their bright, sparkling eyes. And there's a presentness that is absolutely amazing. So I know we have a signal here that is doing probably far more than we can even know and understand. Our science can show that many of the other, very good machines that are out there are doing, 9 to 11% increase in energy, in oxygenation into the body. But we also know that Bemer is doing 30%. And the most amazing thing with that increase in that signal configuration is that the next day, when you've been using the other machines, you're back to zero again, not with Bemer. You can't get to it the next day, or you're just going to someone's house or a clinic or a doctor's office where you can only go a couple times a week. There is a residual effect of the signal in the supporting the body's blood flow that is better on the next day when the machine's turned off than the others had on their very best day with the machine turned on. So that's why we can say that the Bemer signal is going to help support all of those body functions, all 11 of the major organ systems in the body that need to be supported every single day with oxygen delivery through the blood.
Yeah, so a lot of athletes use it because it gives them better endurance and a competitive edge.
Oh
And
yes, it's been a well kept secret for some of our major athletes for a number of years, particularly our European Olympians. We have several fabulous athletes in all different genres of the athletic world that are now our ambassadors, and they are speaking openly about Bemer being, the support system for their success also. One of the things that I hear most often for anybody who's doing any kind of physical activity, and we all should be doing that every day, movement is absolutely the most important thing for longevity. Bemer can support that movement like nothing else that I have ever seen personally as a therapist. And that is the ability to help the body regenerate by moving lactic acid out of the muscles. So, we go do a hard workout and then the next day it hurts too much to go do it again. You do your Bemer session before you go into that activity. You do it again when you are finished with your activity. And it is amazing to see the recovery. I can remember one of my cousin's kids who was in water polo tournament. I can't tell somebody else's testimony, but I'll just tell you what I experienced. A very fit child who could not recover after a round robin tournament. Dinner didn't do it. Sitting on the computer didn't do it. A nap didn't do it. And finally he asked for, cousin Paula, can you get the Bemer for me? And because his mother was pretty traditional medicine as a nurse. But I saw this little child after 8 minutes get up and say, I feel fine now. And I could see it. And this is what's so amazing about Bemer is we can see the changes on people. We can see the change in their skin texture, the sparkle and clarity of the eyes, the postures that can change, people's ability to move, interact, speak, so many things that I use as a speech therapist that can be impaired with that. So to be in sports without a Bemer, not so many people doing that anymore. In fact, the NFL Alumni Association has a collaboration of working with a lot of their athletes who, many of them, particularly with concussions, this has been such a huge issue with the NFL alumni, and for them to even help support their athletes by getting Bemers or getting reimbursed for their Bemers as they are, trying to help support a lot of the damage that was done before we knew how much damage was being done. So I find that really exciting to see that we're being proactive for those who have been damaged in our entertainment, just like those were being damaged going out to space. It's great to walk on the moon, but then could you walk back on Earth again without your hip breaking because you had so much time without blood flow? So these were some of the things that were happening.
Yeah, and there's some Bemer horses that won the Kentucky.
Oh yes. Oh yes. In fact, we know this young lady, Cindy. I'll just use her name, Cindy Sawyer, and she went down to Florida from Kentucky to help someone with their horse unit because they'd gotten one and the people hadn't trained them how to use it. Training is very important. We do have a Class 2 registered medical device, so it's all about training. Anyhow, that horse ended up, Country House, winning the Kentucky Derby, and the one that was disqualified was also a Bemer horse, but got disqualified for some reason. So, we have winners everywhere. Bruce Springsteen's daughter, Jessica, was an equestrian event participant in Tokyo in the Olympics 2 years ago, and she won a silver medal. I'm not sure what the event was, but both she and her horse are Bemer users, and she is now one of our equine ambassadors. We have ambassadors in almost every area of equine. Our horses are very honest. They have immediate reactions. They are going to show you what happens to their sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight, flight, freeze response, and how the Bemer helps them in minutes go into a parasympathetic response, which is your rest and regenerative phase. Yeah. So imagine if this can happen to a horse where they get relaxed, they get their tongue might be licking their lips, their little foot goes up, and then they look forward to you walking into the barn the next day holding that Bemer blanket because they know what it is and they know what it does. So we have incredible research coming from the horses that we can even say, if this is working on a horse, I wonder if it's working on us. We have pretty similar circulatory systems. So the equine world has been with Bemer for many, many years.
Yeah, but you don't want to put a horse Bemer on a human.
Oh, you would not want to do that. Think about how big a horse is and how little petite we are compared to that. So that energy would be far beyond, because even the basic program on a horse is just 5 minutes, but it is designed for the massiveness of the horse. So we know some people have tried it, but it is not recommended. However, you can use your human unit on your horse. And one of my managers was very skeptical, but when I took my human unit to her barn, and we Bemered 4 out of her 5 horses, and they were in love, and she could see even the next day the difference in the horses that got Bemered and the one that did not, and then the fact that her dog was on the Bemer mat and growled when we tried to get him off. We had to pull it out like a tablecloth, pulled out underneath the plates because it would not get off. I have seen this several times actually. But that's a little off use for what the FDA says Bemers are for. However, things do happen in your home. I will say that, and in your barn.
Well, going back to the company, we forgot to mention. So I want to mention that we now have an American Bemer office in California, and when COVID broke out, we were not allowed to sell any Bemers for a few months until the CEO wrote Trump and said, "Hey, we're trying to create jobs here," and Trump got it unstuck with the FDA. Correct?
There is some rumors about that, and I have seen the letters, and we can't confirm exactly what happened, but we do know that right before our quarantine shutdown, the FDA was, because they inspect every thing coming into the country for medical devices, and they just noticed a discrepancy between some of the machines were labeled as a class 1 FDA device, and they had on their little checklist clipboard class 2. So they said, let's just stop everything for a couple of weeks and let us check into that. Well, 5 months later, they were able to say, wow, yes, these are class 2, these are class 1, they can't be sold together. So we did lose the mat for 15 months. However, we did get some governmental help to push the inspection and the decision making after so many months of this not being able, we couldn't sell anything. And we thank the people who knew somebody who worked in the White House that got that moving and got that happening for us.
Our next sponsor is Mint Builder. Have you ever heard of the book, The Richest Man in Babylon? If not, you can check it out in the bookstore. but it's a classic business book that reveals the key to personal wealth. I'm going to give you that key, and it's basically saving 10% every month. So the way I like to save is in gold and silver with Mint Builder. I've been using Mint Builder for years and have attained master status. I have created a system where my savings plan pays for itself by signing up people who want to save and start a silver bank account, which ships physical coin out every month based on their budget. The author of The Richest Man in Babylon says that magic number is 10% of your income. Now you can build your legacy with the best pricing on metal assets while helping the nonprofit Feed My Starving Children, which uses 90% of donations for food to stop malnutrition in over 100 countries around the world. Thank you for considering Mint Builder to build your wealth and feed hungry children. You can go to mintbuilder.com/102026, or you can go to preciousmetaltrends.com/102026. Complete the form and claim your free silver bullion bar just for taking our short tour and brief survey.
Now, I love the phrase, and 22 years ago, and I had that terrible fall on a sailboat in Italy and got sprayed with the pesticide in Rome and got very, very sick. I created the phrase, what is good about this bad thing happening? So what did we find out during the time that we were shut down and everybody was shut down? We knew that we had a whole set that was already class 2 cleared. So we repackaged that with a backpack and called it the Go unit. And oh my gosh, did we learn even some more things about how to use that B-pad down the spine, how to use it down with the legs. And that's, I think, one thing that you did, John, that helped create your more feeling in your legs. So we found that you could throw this stuff in the backpack. It wasn't counted as carry-on luggage on an airplane. So we had people that ended up, when things were lifted, were flying here, flying there. I fly all over the United States, and I have flown, as I said, to Costa Rica, Mexico, Egypt, and Dubai with my backpack as a medical device extra luggage. And I did have to get permission from the international airlines, but boy, they looked it up, they liked it, and I did Bemer sessions on the airlines, Emirates airline flight attendants on that 16-hour flight. They loved it. There was quite a difference in all of our legs with that. So we know that good things can happen from bad things happening, and that Go unit, you can just toss that in the car with you and take it on your hike and take it with you wherever you want to go with our special battery. And then we did get the mats back. We are now totally class 2 cleared, but we have not been able to recapture the skin light that we had, that we coveted so much here in the United States while it was still in all of the other countries. However, we do have a new design Bemer coming out, launching in the United States on Monday, called the Evo for Evolution. And we will have an amazing light available in the fall for red light and blue light for skin issues. We're really looking forward to having that back in our arsenal to help support people.
Nice. So basically right now we have a new 4th or 5th generation Bemer coming out called the Evo. And I know that we're basically trying to get rid of the inventory of the previous model, which is the model that I use and sleep on. And they knocked it at least $1,000 off the price. So
it's actually over the regular price, $2,000 less.
Oh, wow.
Than it was, yes, because we had gotten a special price when the Evo debuted in Europe, and then they just have reduced it again. And as long as we have inventory, I did just recently hear at the managers meeting that they are going to be anything that was supposed to go to Canada or the rest of Europe will now be designated for the United States, and we'll have another month or so of access to this essential unit. And that means the box. And it is a getting rid of it in one way if you want to move out old inventory. However, we are buying these up like crazy because in the FDA's wisdom, we are not able to have the same special program for night use that is going to be in all of the other countries. So they're having to do changes to the units for the United States only. And we'll have a 5-minute relaxation program at night to be used instead of the beautiful all-night natural automatic system that we have now. So I know a number of people are trying to get those units so that they have those for themselves and their families for their sleep, because that will be a missing feature. We have a couple other features that are not in the new design that we also, particularly as practitioners, that we like. But the ability for $3,990 to get a Bemer, because the signal will be the same on the Evo. It's not a change in the signal, it's just changing some designs. And particularly if somebody wants to get started in the business, because the new one price point will be $5,490. The horse equine unit is $5,240. So for someone who can have an interest in just getting a Bemer essential set for themselves, at that price point is incredible. And then also to be able to start an independent business, which can be used in how many countries? I think we can order off our own sites, John, in 20 different countries, which means you can travel and write these machines off as you go to those countries. Italy is the one country that you have to be a doctor to be able to sell these. So that tells you how important they are in the medical community, in the Italian culture. But for us to be able to sign up to be a independent distributor for $299, and then buy that $3,990 unit, that will immediately then qualify someone for additional 17 to 25% off any further purchases or any further accessories that you want to purchase, like the battery, the B-Sit, which is just amazing to have in any chair or over, the body or under the body. And in many ways, we have other things that are really treasured to have as extra accessories too. But the $299, I think, is such a value because it enables someone to have a 2-day training, either live somewhere around the country or on a Zoom. And it also gives a back office where there's a lot of e-learning and recordings of a lot of the trainings. We have an incredible medical consultant, Dr. Joshua Burka, who's been with Bemer since I've been with him for 7.5 years. And I've gotten to be very good friends with him. And we have lunch when we go to California. But I always learn so much because we have our consistent research going on. And Dr. Burka is the one who interfaces with NASA, with the VA, because my gosh, would it be incredible to have these in every VA, and interfaces also with the FDA. So we have to have that strong medical side. And then every month he does a training for us. And then we have those recorded in the back office. So there's so much to learn about our circulatory system. It's been amazing how many doctors get, 1 day of circulatory system classes and know very little. I'm just stunned at how much more I know sometimes when I'm talking to doctors about our circulatory system than they were taught in medical school. So we love to have that interest in training. And then, of course, you have a website almost immediately where you can start to share the information with others and help them move on this road to enhanced health, wellness, and quality of life as well. I think most of the time, everybody that I enroll, they immediately say, I want one from my mom. That's usually our number one thing. Or I've had a number of them that have signed up and said, oh, my dog needs this. So, we can't tout this for the equine community. I mean, the dogs and cats veterinary community yet, but hopefully we'll have a unit soon that will be able to do that. But can't help what happens at home, right?
So basically, people can pay $299 to be a distributor of Bemer. They get a back office and a 2-day training academy, and that's really important because I know a lot of people try to find a Bemer, on eBay or whatever. And I know they're not allowed to be sold on eBay, but I know people will try to get one used or figure out how to get that price down. But if they figure out how to do that, they don't get the training and they don't get the warranty. So it's can end up being a problem later because they're using the Bemer wrong, and then a pin breaks or something and they can't really fix it.
That is true, and that 3-year warranty is just really awesome because I have seen a few things that have gone awry, and Bemer has been just amazing. And pretty much they're not fixing anything almost every time. It's just like they just send you a new applicator or a new B box or something. So, right. And then I really have loved what they've done because being in it as long as I have now. I had one applicator that went out, and I've helped others as well that have had some that have gone out. And post warranty, then they give you a really great replacement price. So they're, once you have a Bemer and you have it registered with the company, they're going to just take care of you forever. And, we're a 25-year company now, so we don't anticipate anything changing anywhere in the near future. In fact, they're starting to open up new Asia is the next, the Philippines, I think, is the next one to open up area. But, the Asian population, because the Chinese have been trying to, figure this signal out for a long time. But so they finally are going to get, all the medical, political things taken care of so that we can, expand the territories where Bemers can be shipped. The problem is being able to ship it.
Okay, so basically, right now, $2,000 off the Bemer. It's the lowest price it will probably
ever be.
Ever be. It's a besides healing issues or helping with issues. It's also a business in a box.
True.
And I'm now a senior distributor, so when you start out as a junior, you make a little bit less.
17%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I Bemers to get to senior status, and now when I sell one, it's like a $1,200.
Yeah, $2,500.
So and I haven't even gotten into the horse stuff, which my daughter says she wants to do that. She's 14, so when she turns 16, I'll get her a unit. We're out in the country where there's lots of horses, so it's a way I can teach my daughter how to run her own business and do what she loves, which loves animals.
Right. And I will say this, thanks for bringing that up. In the United States, children have to be 18 to be a distributor, or legally use the Bemer. It's 14 in Canada and around the rest of the world. However, parent guidance is I'm a therapist of children. And
Yeah.
so we know with parent guidance, there are some amazing things that can happen. So, but we want our little ones to be very well protected. And, but because this is such a low frequency, the FDA said we are the one and only low frequency PMF. There are no dangers. Now let's talk about real quickly some contraindications that we're on this. There are 3 contraindications. And one is if you have had an organ transplant and you're using immunosuppressant drugs, not recommended to use the Bemer. If you have an active deep vein thrombosis, DVT blood clot, not recommended to use the Bemer. And if you have an implanted device, diabetic device feeding you medication, or even pacemakers now. I've had many people with pacemakers, but now their pacemakers have changed their energy too. So you just want to bring your doctor into that. Now, I understand on the new Evo unit, it is a contraindication to have any of the devices using that and to have them on while you're using the Bemer. You don't want those energies to be coinciding. So you do want to bring your doctor into this process and let them know what it is that you are doing. And most of them, I just gave a Bemer brochure to cardiologist that I went to last week. Because my Medicare doctor, young Do, says, "How is it you're not having heart attacks and you're not having angina and things with this blood work and this heart condition you've had since you were a child?" And I go, "Well, here's the Bemer." I actually put her on the Bemer while I was having my appointment with her. She's very interested. So, we have an opportunity to share and teach what we know, in the United States, that we may sometimes be the only voice that's coming through to share about that.
Right. So how likely is it that the doctor will even know what they're talking about, though?
A lot of them don't, and they just kind of oomph and walk out. But and then I have doctors on my team. We have naturopaths, we have chiropractors. I used to do booths at the chiropractor conventions. I've done them at stroke conventions. I've done them at brain injury conventions. I've had, we have. I'm going to say every genre of the medical field we have in Bemer. And one of my most amazing privileges was to have a cardiologist approach me at a Bemer Academy, I think 4 years ago. And he said, "I just got a Bemer. I don't know what to do with it. My person can't help me. Will you help me?" Well, I got 2 years of teaching him, which meant I got to go on a cardiologist journey with Bemer. Do you think I didn't learn some awesome things along that way? And the classes that we were talking about, and the 3-way calls we were doing with other medical professionals. It was very, very exciting. So we have a story that we can share that can help change things in the United States, and slowly we are doing that. And let's see what's going on in the rest of the world, where other devices and things are utilized, and the focus is on wellness, not on illness.
Beautiful. Well, we're about to hit an hour, so I think we covered it pretty well. Is there anything you would like to share before we get off? And I also want you to provide any. We'll put some links to Paula's stuff. She also has some other amazing products that she endorses. and we'll make sure and put links, whatever links you want. Is there anything you'd like to cover before we
I think the one thing that we didn't cover at the very beginning is the what Bemer does. And let me find a sheet right now that tells. So this is new from the FDA, very limited compared to what I was able to say 7 years ago, and then 4 years ago, and then 2 years ago. But today, I can say the benefits of Bemer are to reduce stress, improve rest and recovery. Does that help with when you're in law school to have those things, John? I think that would be.
I live and breathe the Bemer. Being that I'm in law school, I'm more focused on using it than I am, selling it. Now that I finished my first year, and it's such a good opportunity right now to get a Bemer with the sleep program in it. It's such a good opportunity that I figured I'd do a push right now, because it's just
we have a limited time. We have a limited time for this greatness. Let me continue with some other benefits here. Optimizing physical performance, enhancing muscle conditioning, improving physical fitness, and enjoying a better overall feeling of well-being. And what we love about some of the trainings that we get to be in is hearing, let's say, I don't know how many academy trainings I have helped produce here in Dallas, as well as our 20th anniversary celebration I helped produce. And to hear so many people tell their personal stories, because we can't tell somebody else's testimony, but it just boggles your mind to think, what in the world do we have here and we don't get to know about? How in the world did my damaged brain from that fall heal itself? How did I get all those pesticides and heavy metals out of my body that I got sprayed with in Europe? How did I heal all my organs that were damaged with the neurologist forcing the poison out of my body before it got the oxygen, which instigates the poisons coming out of your body? How did my heart condition from age 12 or 14 stop bothering me after 5 days of use? How did my little fingers that were always so arthritically painful start to move again and reduce discomfort in 2.5 weeks? How did an organ that had some detoxification around it, because we found out that I was allergic to something I'd been taking for 30 years and needed to continue to take. And it looked like, ooh, what's this goo coming out of your neck, Paula? Well, then we found out, oh, that's the body trying to detox this poison that's been accumulated for 30 years. We have so much stuff in our body, toxins from back in my day, we played in DDT. They'd spray it. We'd go play in it because that was fun. So we have so many people that in our older generations, I work with the brain. So we know in 1961, I'm going just a little bit extra here, Rachel Carson wrote The Silent Spring, and JFK was one of the forces in, outlawing a lot of the sprays and pesticides, things that were, in our ground, in our foods, and everywhere. Well, we still have residual of that. And those of my age, we still have it in our brains. How many memory care units do we have now where we used to not ever have one? Guess what? We know now how much is lack of detoxification of pesticides and poisons that have accumulated in the brain. We detox from our feet up. So you may do a detox, but guess what? The last thing that's going to go is in the brain.
Yep, I've been definitely focused on my brain lately here in law school.
Gotta have it.
gotta have it. Yep.
Well, John, I'm very impressed with your steadfastness in sharing this with others, your care and compassion for others, to be, can I say it? I know you got gray in your beard. I'm not exactly how old you are, but for you to be taking on this new task that most young people have a struggle with, and to be able to do that as a father of four, and keep everything moving as you need to. It's really, really impressive. But I just, herald you and all others who are there in support of our world and in being the very best we can be and completing our destiny as we are designed to do that.
I love your spirit as well. It's an honor to be a part of your team. If you would like to join us, we're gonna put some links at the bottom. We can actually finance your Bemer through the system, and we're looking for some distributors. What do you have? What do you think about people that would say, "Oh, this is a pyramid scheme"?
That's really a good question, because you can't hardly buy a product today and not be stuck in a pyramid of multi-level marketing. Actually, multi-level marketing has helped to spread the idea of Bemer being sold by independent distributors who need to train the people. You don't just sell, you sell and you train. But we are a direct sales two-tiered affiliate. So you can, like John, you enroll someone. Let's just start with me. John's enrolled under me, so I will make a percentage. Actually, you're enrolled under somebody else right now, but I'll make a percentage from you, and then you enroll somebody, you'll make a percentage from them. And that's only 2 layers deep. So multi-level is where they just kind of, pyramid, they literally stick people in holes and spots. I don't even understand it. Most of them that are that way, there's some very affluent companies, but I don't want to be part of it. I feel like I'm in an entanglement. I like the directness of having a mentor, and you bring someone in, you mentor them until they understand this and can share it with others if that's what they choose to do. Many doctors don't want to have a quote downline because they just want to sell to their patients and train them and help them get well. That is a choice. A lot of people don't want to do anything other than buy an extra one for their bedroom at a discount and make sure that their family is taken care of. And that's a great way to do that. But there is no pressure in this company to do anything more than just, follow your heart and where you want people to feel better. So that's a really exciting part of this as well.
Would you describe this as another hot, sexy word I hear a lot these days is biohacking?
Absolutely. In fact, I had just seen something on biohacking with nitric oxide, which is developed in we have our big arteries, our smaller arterioles, and the nitric oxide is spontaneously produced there, which helps the little capillaries do their functioning. And those capillaries are 74% of our circulatory system. So it's really, really interesting. So I'm not going to give you a definition of biohacking, but I was going to see if I can find this picture. I don't know if I can find it quickly enough. But to know that we are changing, bio means life, and hacking means we're going to change this. So to know that we have a lot of products, a lot of people, a lot of medical professionals, other kinds of supplements and things that are coming into our arena right now that are changing the medical model that we've had from the pharmaceuticals, which is take a pill or let's cut it out. And we know that there are some other ways to do things. We're looking a little bit wider into what's going on in other cultures, other countries, and trying to see what changes that we can make. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but let's find out what we can use in addition to what we have here and make a change in our consciousness. The hardest thing I have to do ever is to get someone to think from a viewpoint differently than the one they have been trained in and they're holding to.
Yeah. That's the trick, isn't it?
It's a toughie.
So where can people get in contact with you?
If you want to put my name down there, but my cell number is, I'll just give it to you now, is 214-415-7231. And we can help support John in his education as a lawyer and his 4 children, and help him support you as well. So I'll be happy to talk with anyone, do 3-way calls, and just to support us all sharing this information with those that we love. Oh, I just found this thing. It says biohack your way to health. And I think that's just a very interesting thing. I'm going to just say this because nitric oxide, I just told you how important it is. And I'm seeing on this thing, it says stop using antiseptic mouthwash and fluoride toothpaste. Yeah. And stop using antacids, stop eating high carbohydrate and highly processed junk food. And that's kind of hard to do when you're studying in school sometimes. But, we're making changes by taking things out of our vocabulary, out of our repertoire, and out of how we were raised.
Paula, well, thanks for being on the show. Love you. What can I say?
Love you too. And I'll just close with what I like to say. We need the health and the heart to complete our destinies and be of service to others. So Touching Our World Now is the name of my nonprofit. And what is it that you're going to do today that's going to make a difference in this world? All right. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who listened today.
Well, all right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. The Evo is here, which is the new Bemer. For a limited time, you can get the previous model, which is the one that I use, that has functions that are not existing with the Evo. Basically, the sleep program and the red light, which you can't even buy with the company. $3,990 is the lowest price ever to purchase a Bemer. So, if you're interested, now's the time. They're gonna sell out the inventory, and then you'll never be able to get it again with the company. So the benefits are that it can reduce stress, improve rest and recovery, optimize physical performance, enhance muscle conditioning, improve physical fitness, and give you an overall feeling of well-being. Distributorship is $299, and put my Bemer link through my company AdBongo in the notes. Paula's link is also there. If you get a Bemer through Paula, that's okay, but you can support the show, myself and Paula, if you get it through my link. So she's also got some other products there that are pretty cool. The Bolara machine basically can clean through walls. So when this pandemic was full throttle, rather than wearing masks, people could have just had this Bolara purification system with ozone, which I put in as another episode of the benefits of ozone, but I use that a lot myself. So check her out. If you want to be convinced or want a demo, I'm available for that. Paula can do a 3-way as she offered. And other than that, have a beautiful rest of your summer, and stay tuned for more action. I got a month till fall class starts again. I'm taking a light summer school load, so I actually have my first mock trial on Tuesday. I'm going to air that on Facebook Live. If you want to connect with me on my social media, again, look in the notes at the bottom. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Like or share this podcast, or give it a rating. If you don't want to buy a Bemer, that's how you can support me, and support me supporting you and supporting the world. Just trying to capture, basically my gurus in one place. So maybe someday my kids can see what I was talking about. Anyways, have a good one. Much love. Talk to you soon.